Hello and welcome to this Flames of War version 4 battle report. I titled this one On the Road to El Alamein. This is a breakthrough scenario, and we have a German Panzer III company all lined up ready to go with a couple of 88s that are dug in on a nice hilltop. On this side of the board, what I have deployed are 4 British 25-pounders dug in. I do have a platoon of Grants that are in ambush. For the Germans, they need to get one of these 2 objectives. The British, before the game, got to range in with their marker. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, what do the Germans have? Very quickly, some Panzer IIIs, Panzer IVs, a couple of 88s, and Stuka support. The British have Grants, Crusaders, 25-pounders, and Hurricane support. Okay, I'll let you know what's happening when turn 1 hits. At the end of German turn 1, they start the first turn. We see that the German tanks have made cross-country dashes. The Panzer III platoon cross-country dash to here, head HQ unit here, and our Panzer IV unit over here as they're trying to make the bid for the objectives. They are protected by these sand dunes, and our beloved 88s really can't do anything because they are a little too far away from the British. However, we did have a pair of Stukas that came in and they tried to bomb the artillery and they failed. Thus ends German turn 1. Okay, we're at the end of turn 1. The British went, they rolled for reinforcements, nothing. However, they did get 2 Hawkers who went right after the German tank commander, the HQ platoon, and they did hit the German commander's tank, and a bottle of schnapps was shredded, much to the disgust and the anger of the German commander. Nothing else happened. Our beloved boys of the Royal Artillery decided to pay a little visit to the 88s. Ranged in nicely, pinned them. That's it. That's all for turn 1. Okay, as we end the top half of German turn 2, we see that the German panzer columns decided to make the terrain dash, the cross-country dash, if you will. So at this point now, we have our Panzer IVs. They're about to take the objective there. The formation commander moved up behind, and the Panzer IIIs are just out of sight of the British 25-pounders. The Stukas did not make an appearance, and these guys here, well, they can't really do anything. So, end of the top half of German turn 2. So here we are at the end of British turn 2, and a lot of things have been happening. First off, the Hawker Hurricanes came in, flew and took out the platoon commander's tank, switched over to another tank, no big deal. The Panzer IV platoon was making their way toward the El Alamein objective when, surprise, surprise, we have got a platoon of Grants there in ambush waiting for them. We had the first British reinforcements come in, and they opened up on the Germans. 1 Panzer IV short barrel down. Commander's tank is bailed, 1 Panzer tank bailed. In the meantime, British artillery had no impact whatsoever on the 88s. I think they're going to be pretty much out of it for the rest of the game, but who knows? All right, and with that, here's the table on the end of British turn 2. What will turn 3 bring? Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to rapidly sum up bottom half of turn 2 with the British and the top half of German turn 3. In the British turn 2, we got reinforcements. The Grants, they came out to here, and we had our Grants here that were in ambush, and they fired on the German Mark IVs, knocking out one of them, bailing out the commander. That all changed rather rapidly, that the commander was simply remounted, and then the German tanks started to move forward and start firing on the British for their turn, leaving 2 wrecked Grants over here, 2 other wrecked Grants over here. That tally-ho didn't exactly go with the Grants. However, they are going to live to fight another day. So 2 Grant platoons in one turn vaporized. I was kind of wondering, wait a minute, is this going to affect the unit formation? I shouldn't say unit formation. The formation morale, I looked up the rules. I still have 1 Grant platoon and the HQ off the table in reserves. As long as if they're on the table or in the reserves, you got 2 units. Your HQ is always important, and then 1 other corps formation. So right now, the British Grant Company is kind of in a fragile situation. So the question comes down to is, what do I bring on next as the British player? Do I bring on Grants, or do I bring on Crusaders? Because at this point, I've rolled, I got 2 reinforcements coming in. So I can choose to bring on my HQ and my Grant platoon, or I could bring in my 2 platoons of cruisers. And more than likely, I'm going to bring them possibly from the other side of the table. So, that's all. So the main action's been happening here. Alright, catch you on the flip side. So we are at the end of British turn 3. I made a mistake because those Grants were on the wrong side of the table, as far as they couldn't enter on that side of the table. Oops, I made a mistake. So, I'll have to keep that in mind for the next time. Still, it's been a bloody battle. The Crusaders entered. 1 Crusader group landed here. They shot at this platoon here and missed. This Crusader shot here at what was left of the company command and missed. These guys, they literally cried out, "Tally-ho!" and literally pelted the company commander's tank and his buddies. And, you know, that mistaken target rule, it seems like the company commander lives 9 lives like a cat. It was twice that he got hit, twice he was able to pass the favor on to the next tank. Yeah, and the next tank didn't make it, so yeah, and the artillery did absolutely nothing. So, with that, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of turn 3. So we are at the end of turn 4. During the end of the top half of turn 4, the Germans did not get their reserves. The Stukas did not come in. So some decisions needed to be made, and the company commander booked it out of there, out of the way, behind the homemade sand dune. Those 2 Panzer IIIs were over here for a moment, but they decided to dash toward the objective to seize that. And then the Panzer IV platoon took a risk, did a blitz move, so they could get in a range of these tally-ho Crusaders and blasted 2 of them. It was pretty harsh because the commander ended up, because of the mistaken fire rule, instead of taking 3 hits, he took 1. He still brewed up. And the other Crusader, well, that's kind of a foregone conclusion. So, this is the end of the top half of turn 4. It's coming to the end, folks. So here we are at the bottom half of turn 4. The game is pretty much over. The British rolled for reinforcements. They elected to bring on the Grants on here, but they were too far away to engage the Mark IV platoon. The Crusaders moved up, tactically speaking, tactical move, and they fired and they took out 1 Mark IV. The artillery wasn't going to do anything special relative to this area. And at this point right now, at the bottom, the top half of turn 5. The Germans have full possession of that lone objective there. So this game, in terms of breakthrough, the Germans take it. The Afrika Korps takes it. And, you know, some mistakes definitely were made. I think that the British could have put their artillery in a better position to cover their objectives more than anything else. That's what they should have done. And we made the mistake about the arrival of the Grants over there that gave the Germans some serious headaches there. I think that's where it gave the Germans most issues regarding that. Putting the pre-aimed fire, whoops, here we go. Putting the pre-aimed fire right on the objective there before the game, I still think that was a good thing to do. But, well, that's it. So, once again, North Africa has been revisited. We're just going to do a quick fly through here. Oh my gosh, look at all those wrecks. And with that, that concludes this fight. Good night, folks.